In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers podcast.
Perfect. What's the deal, Panther fans? It's your boy, Tony Dunn, a.k.a. The Professor. It's the C3 Panthers podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. Jump in the car on the way to training camp, which is only 8 days away. They report in a week, and hang out with us in the chat room, right? Everybody, we appreciate you. Smash the thumbs up button. Check into the cat calls line at 252-228-5098. And I tell you, who's always riding shotgun in the car, Cody Lashney. Welcome back to the longest running Panthers podcast. How you doing, my man?
Tony Dunn, you know I'm doing good because it's a Tuesday night and I'm hanging with the boys. The Four Horsemen are back on the show, man. I'm pumped. We're going to have a great show tonight. And Tony, as always, you know we're joined by the most lit Panther fans in all of existence on YouTube. I'm talking about Sideshow Rob, Antoine Henderson, Mr. Froth, Supreme Leader, Trill One, AJ Lindsay, Tim Estes, Joby the Blind Panther Esquivel, Salesman, Craig Cartner, Tony Dunn, and nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
Salesman, shut the bathroom door, turn on the exhaust fan, because this shit is stanky. Nah, he always be talking about shit on the internet, and I like it too because I always be on the shitter while he's talking about it. Like scroll. CK in the house, my man, the master of streams, the bestest voice on the internet. How you doing, my friend?
Oh, just living the dream. We are 1 week away from something happening in the Panthers organization, and that is training camp. Obviously, we have a lot to talk about tonight. A lot of good news, a lot of hope for the future. So I'm ready to get it going, and ready to hear you introduce our next guest, who has been dearly missed.
I tell you one thing is that you don't want to have things to talk about this week when it comes to the Panthers, right?
Nope.
I mean, like if we look around the league, a couple of stories of arrests, Richard Sherman banging on his in-laws' doors,
torn Achilles,
right? Some
Cam Akers,
Cam Akers with the torn Achilles today. The Falcons molester. You guys hear about this story?
No.
What?
No.
You have my attention.
Google Falcon linebacker child molester.
Oh my God.
You will, Greg, hold on, because I'm going to introduce you. He's like, I'll give him a second to Google. You do not want your name in the damn news right now when it comes to the NFL. And fortunately,
did we lose?
I think, I lost sound. I wasn't sure if it was just me.
Somehow space bar.
There you go.
Oh, I accidentally hit the space bar.
Marquis Mingo? Is that
the
guy?
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. All right.
He is creepy as fuck, bro. Anyway, the Bat Daddy, the man of many podcasts, the postal legend. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing fantastic, man. Like I said, I was just sitting back the other day and I was listening to the podcast and I was like, damn, I need to hop back on there. It's been way too long since I've hung out with you boys and talked about some Panther stuff. It's just been real busy lately, but had a free Tuesday night and decided to make the appearance. Glad to be here.
Fantastic to have you. Knock,
Who's
guys.
there?
Who's there?
C3, smash the thumbs up button, get in the show, subscribe. That's what you can do. Tonight's show is Panthers get Moton for training camp and more. And guys, when we met last week, we were bemoaning the missed opportunity, it felt like, when it comes to signing Taylor Moton. There was a lot of misinformation floating around the internet when it came to when the deadline was and this and that. But
blame Jeremy Fowler.
At the 11th hour, folks, the Carolina Panthers signed Taylor Moton to an extension, which I think amounted to $72 million, 4 years. What were the details of that? It's not a tremendously long extension. At the same time, it does make Taylor Moton, I believe, the highest paid right guard in the league for the time being. And I got no qualms with it, homie. I like the idea of this is that, we might be paying primo money,
Right.
but we're paying our best damn lineman, our best player, one, and two, it does not feel like an unnecessary, like we stretched it out too long to where we have to restructure at the end. In fact, by the end of this deal, I almost feel like we could be talking about signing him for one more 3-year or 4-year stint.
Potentially. So I'll pass it to you guys. I'll just read the exact numbers here. Taylor Moton signed a 4-year, $72 million contract with the Carolina Panthers, including $43 million guaranteed and an average annual salary of $18 million. In 2021, Moton will earn a base salary of $13,754,000 while carrying a cap hit of $13,754,000. And I do believe this makes him tied for sixth highest paid at his position in the NFL. So,
which is actually better than what we thought.
Bananas, dude. Scott Fitterer to me is batting 1,000. Like, is this not okay? None of us thought that we were going to get this deal done. At least me, Tony, and CK didn't. The last time we shot this podcast. Now that we've got it done, we got it signed for less than what Ryan Ramczyk signed for. Like, I really don't know what more anyone could want. To me, this is everything that we wanted, and it's getting to the point. I posed this question on our new Friday free for all show, which, by the way, check that out. Every Friday at 7 p.m. we're doing a live show for the fans. But I brought this up then that if Sam Darnold pans out and turns out to be a good quarterback, dude, is this one of the better first years that a general manager has ever had? Because, I mean, if all these moves pan out, it's looking like Scott Fitterer is doing something special.
Let's slow our roll a little bit.
Yeah.
I felt like in 2017 when maybe it was 28, whatever, when we got Poe, then we added Peppers, and then we did all this stuff, is that we're sitting there celebrating Marty Herney for having one of the better off seasons that Carolina's had, and then it doesn't develop into success, right? So yeah, is that at this point we're kind of, I think there's some optimism surrounding the way we have navigated the waters of free agency and the draft. But until we see results, we won't really know. And I will bring back up 1 year, which was the 2015 draft, where at the end of the 2015 season, they went back and regraded the Panthers draft. And they said we had like 4 first-round picks. We got Funchess, who had a big year that year, Trey Boston, Ben Wickery. And then those guys ended up being janky by the end. There are some additional details I found on overthecap.com. Moton received a $43 million fully guaranteed at signing, receives $15 million signing bonus, and his 21 through 23 base salaries are guaranteed. Moton will earn 6 points, and then he gets some incentives if he's there at the end of the contract. But this contract also frees up $9.754 million for the Carolina Panthers in free agency. CK, the Moton deal felt like it wasn't ever getting done until it got done. Now it feels kind of great, don't it?
It feels better than I thought, because the reality was, let's be honest. I mean, it's not a bad move. Had we done this earlier, we would have probably saved money. If we had done this before the Saints got Ramczyk, That is just the way the market goes. But the fact that we didn't get better than we did, and we didn't put ourselves in a position, or let me rephrase, the fact that he didn't get top right tackle money is the part that I was actually surprised by, because I know that that's what he was pushing for. The fact that he's number 3 is a bit of a surprise. So I'm definitely thankful for that. Had this happened prior, I think we would have saved a little bit of money, but nonetheless, we've got it wrapped up. We got it before the deadline, and I think we've got a right tackle, if not a left tackle, for at least the next 4 years.
Who's ahead of him, guys? If he's number 3,
Ryan Ramczyk is the highest at this point in time.
Is he a 5-year or a 5-year deal? That's another thing I'd be interested in too. Is the length of the contract a way of making you the higher paid player? What are the differentials that describe that? Greg, the offensive line. How about this? Is Mr. Pessimism is back? Right? Yeah. Is that
I'm interested to hear Bat Daddy's opinion on this.
I know. Is that look? There's no. Can the most pessimistic dude of the bunch? Are you excited or not excited?
I actually am very excited. There's really only one thing I can kind of think about with this, and that's the money. Like you guys said, the fact that we didn't have to pay him top dollar is great, because every time you want to get a player of his caliber, he's a very good player. I usually have to break the bank for it or set the new bar for everything else, and we didn't have to do that. That helps out a ton. The only thing I can think of is, like you said, Tony, it looks great on paper, but let's see how it develops in the field. I am optimistic that it'll develop very well, that it'll work out, because it seems like a good move, and I have no reason to believe otherwise. But I'm happy with the signing. The biggest issue, I think, if you don't sign him, what do you got to pay to replace him? And with who?
Next year, is that one of the things we've discussed a lot is that it's even if he plays fantastic next year, and we franchise tagged him, imagine how much it's going to cost them. Then on top of that, there's even been an idea. Cody Lashney said, let's float him out on the left tackle position and see how he does. Imagine if you forced a top 3-4 right tackle to play a new position under the franchise tag. And I guess the worst thing that would happen is he turned out to be terrible at it, and you get him for a discount. I wouldn't want to do that if I was that person. And the best thing that could happen is that he turned out to be a top left tackle.
Yeah. It's a super bargain.
Now we can move him to the left and say, play it,
then it's a super bargain, because then you're talking, he's a top 6 paid right tackle right now. And if he ends up playing left tackle, he's going to be even more of a discount if he's able to do that well. And listen, I know this might be a little bit controversial, but Taylor Moton might just be the best left tackle on our roster, and we don't know it yet. We there's so much that we still don't know. That's why I'm so excited for the start of training camp. I'm excited to see how these position battles play out, because if you have Brady Christensen, who's showing that he can hold his own on the right side, then why not put Taylor Moton on the left? Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If it's going to benefit the team in the long run to do a little bit of mixing and matching on the offensive line, especially since you already have guys that are kind of position versatile, and or we're trying to figure out where they're going to live long term, like Greg Little, like Trent Scott, like potentially David Moore, who was an undrafted free agent, like Deontay Brown, who we drafted in the 6th round. We have a lot of talent that we really don't know exactly where it fits in at. So I'm excited to see how they play with this. And I think there is a very real possibility that Moton could end up being our left tackle.
You're listening to the C3 Panthers podcast, powered by Avolta. If you want to own your own energy with no money down, and you're a homeowner in North and South Carolina, you can take advantage of tax credits, add equity to your home, and you can do this while going green and achieving energy independence. Contact our friend Kevin Brown, solar consultant for Avolta. The number is 704. That's right, 704. It's a Charlotte area code. 704-215-3373. Tell Kevin Brown you're a Panthers fan. You heard about it on the C3 Panthers podcast, and you want to achieve energy independence. Go solar. Take advantage of those tax credits. And my man, he'll hook you up. All right, guys, the Taylor Moton deal feels for me is that if we wouldn't have gotten this done, I think there would have been a lot of trepidation on my part about this, the way this team is building. Right. And 100%. So we have all these incremental things that are happening, which gives me hope that we're doing it in the right way. Right. Is that we nailed down solid signings and address needs in free agency. We've seen a coaching staff try to get younger faster when it comes to the talent on their team through the draft and all of this. Right. They seem to be implementing what they see as a real vision. But if you would have missed on Moton, I think it would have caused this training camp to be a much more difficult thing to access. Now, the Panthers will be opening training camp in 8 days. They report in a week. So next Tuesday, we will get all of those videos of them walking in. It's in Wofford, right?
Yeah, it's Wofford this year, yeah.
So they're going to be walking in, carrying their televisions. Somebody's going to come up on a scooter. Somebody's, like this and that. We're going to get all of those.
You're going to see what the guys are driving is another thing that I always look for is I look to see what these guys are driving into camp in.
My man is one of my favorite was Demir Bird. I think got dropped off by his mom. You know what I'm saying? You'll hear this too. Is like, mom. Yeah. Oh, dude. I think even maybe Christian McCaffrey was like, it was something like just weird. It was like, this is boring as fuck.
I think he rode with somebody, if I'm not mistaken. I remember that was one of those, like he rode down with like Greg Olsen and Luke or something like that.
So as training camp unfolds, clearly we'll be interested in every pass that Sam Darnold throws. Right, you'll get people filming it from the outside, and they'll be like, that pass is high, that pass is the best thing ever, that pass is the worst thing ever. What else are the things that we should be interested when training camp approaches? Clearly, we want to see how these rookies perform, if they looking like bustas, if they're not. But it's so hard to judge in training camp the stars, in my opinion,
right?
Because everybody says they're just awesome. I don't know. What do you guys think? When training camp unfolds, I think all eyes are going to be on Sam Darnold.
I agree.
Just has to.
Is that where we want to start this? I think right now we need to start talking about what are the real position battles in the training camp that we need to keep an eye on. I don't think that we can. Every year there's a star of training camp, and every year the star of training camp is lackluster, right? And the most, you hear what was it? I don't even remember who it was last year. That's how bad it was.
Russell Shepard, dude. Do you remember
Russell Shepard?
Everybody
Elvin Benjamin, 2015.
The next fucking Randy Moss. It felt like. And I was like catching everything. He's all over the place. And then this guy gets cut.
Right. Right. That was always hysterical to me, is like they would always talk up these guys and then they're off the team thereafter. Let's be honest. This is going to be the hardest wide receiver group to actually make the team because they've already got the guys. Like they have maybe one open slot, and that is it. And so these guys are fighting on this. That'll be an interesting position to watch, is because there is going to be there's going to be a lot of odd men out that are right there that aren't already like the DJ Moores, the Terrence Marshall, the freaking Robbie Anderson. Who else is there? David Moore.
Right, let's start with the wide receiver group, and I'll read all the names off to you.
Yeah, I got the roster up here too.
Robbie Anderson, Omar Bayless, which a lot of people were hype about. You know, I mean, like he's 6'1", 210, or people liked him last year.
Yeah.
Ventel Bryant, who is the guy that got suspended for PED, 6'3", 205, former Temple player. Ishmael, yeah. Well, Ishmael Hyman, Keith Kirkwood is another name. A lot of people use another Temple player, Keith Kirkwood, 6'3", 210. Then it comes this is Terence Marshall Jr., who is arguably the third receiver at this point, I think. Markin McKell, nobody's ever heard of him. David Moore, which we brought in from Seattle, and this is just alphabetical order, folks. DJ Moore, CJ Saunders, Micah Simon, Shai Smith, Brandon Zylstra. So let's say this is that I did I read an article about this a long time ago, but like what's the most? I think the Panthers under Hurney at one point, 1 year, they pulled in 7 receivers on the starting roster. So let's just say there's going to be 6 guys from this list that are on the team.
Right.
Clearly, DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson,
Terence Marshall
Jr. Then let's add David Moore, who we bring in as a
Shai
veteran.
Smith.
So we have one more spot.
Yeah.
Wait, who? David Moore is someone that we're like.
I mean, listen, he's
a man from Seattle. He played well there, and I think Federer feels pretty good about him.
Possible.
So we're saying 6.
I mean, there's
one more.
Yeah, that's if we keep just 6 on the roster. Which I think with a Christian McCaffrey on your team, and I don't see a need for 7 at this point.
I was just about to say you have a 7th.
There's no way we can bring in 7. Yeah, I don't think we can. I don't think we can just afford it.
Well, what roster spot are you taking away from to have 7? Right,
exactly. Good point. No, that's what we will be getting into as you continue to evaluate the 53-man roster or whatever they get. It's 53 is the start, man, but I think they get a little bit more than that technically. But if you add a 7th player to this receiver group, then you have to take away somewhere else, right? You are thinning out. And at this point, I feel like we are pretty strong about our first 3.
Right.
We have some expectations about Shai Smith potentially at in the special teams game. Is it Brandon? It's probably going to be Brandon Zylstra.
I don't know. We got a lot of Omar fans up in here.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm surprised nobody said Zylstra when y'all were talking about it, to be honest with you.
I mean, he's contributed, but he's made the team in what would also be an arguably tough wide receiver room to be able to make the team in. And so, I mean, there is something to be said about that. But I also think that Zylstra isn't. I don't know that he's going to get another opportunity, right? I think that they brought it. There's too many people in to compete, and I don't know that he's going to be able to beat him out. I don't hate Zylstra. I just don't know that he's able to.
One thing that concerns me, someone said this, is Craig Cartner says, Tony, this is a great problem to have. I don't know if it is a great problem to have. His Terence Marshall Jr. struggled with injury. He's been battling some sort of injury, and I feel like we're counting on him to be a giant contributor right off the bat.
Right.
Yeah, I think we are.
I'm not saying he can't be, but in some ways, I think we're maybe we're thin when it comes to experience.
I think that's what it is. I don't recognize half these names, and that's the issue. It'd be a great problem to have if we had 3 wide receivers that all-star wide receivers, but we don't.
Right. I agree.
And I think if you end up loving a 7th receiver, sign him to the practice squad. I think we're going to have some guys on the practice squad.
Special teams.
And again, if Terrace Marshall ends up getting hurt, listen, we drafted 2 wide receivers. A lot of these guys are expendable. Zylstra. And no, Tony, this is what you still, I don't think you get, man. These receivers, and the receivers and the quarterbacks are so much more advanced coming out of college into the NFL today, by the time they've been in middle school, they have thrown pass after pass. They have been running full route trees since they were in middle school. This thing is evolving, and it's not surprising why every year there's some wide receiver that just goes crazy.
Quarterback in middle school, they weren't playing no wide receiver.
The league has also made it easier for offensive players. Wide receivers have it's a lot easier to catch the ball if you got a guy who can throw it to you than it was before. So
right,
yeah. And Tony, what do you think these Elite 11 camps are? All these quarterback competitions, they need guys to throw to. These big name wide receivers have been training and doing this since they were kids.
Oh my God!
Like I think the days of thinking that rookies are undependable to come in and start right away, like maybe that was true once upon a time. I don't think that's true now.
Cody, when was this? You said we drafted 2 wide receivers. Yeah, we drafted one in the 2nd round. So I'll give you that. Like I expect a 2nd rounder. But when Shi Smith drafted, what round was he drafted?
It don't matter. You've never seen any plays of his. Because you're not talking about his talent.
I think he's going to come in and be a mad contributor. That's
Cody. You're right in one aspect of we don't know what these guys can do, but here's the thing: all these guys who are playing pros have been playing since they were kids. Nobody just stepped on the field, 2 years ago in college and is making the pros right now.
Except for
FA Obata.
Okay, there are a few exceptions. I get that.
Yeah.
But I mean, these guys coming on to play, like you're right. You don't know what they can do, but I feel like through high school and through college, they've generally most of the time been scouted enough where if he's going to be a great player, he's probably going to go in pretty early in the draft. I mean, you don't see a lot of great players like wide receivers drafted in the 6th.
I disagree. You see, I mean, it's every year there's at least 5 to 10.
You just remember them. You just remember them. That's it, because they performed above their pedigree.
No. So let's talk
Name
about
the last player for the Panthers.
K1
drafted
sure.
after the 3rd round, who is still on our team.
Still on the team?
Yeah.
When was
there's Jeremy Chin was after the 3rd round, wasn't he?
Wasn't Jermaine Carter Jr. drafted in like the 4th or 5th round or something like that?
Okay.
All I'm saying is
we
miss on talent in the draft. There's always talented players that get dropped in the draft, but generally, if you're a good enough player, you're going in the first 3 rounds. Usually after 3 rounds, it's kind of filler players for positions, practice squads, and maybe a diamond in the rough you can find. Like I said, it can happen, but I don't put a lot of faith on odds.
It's not that it can't happen. It's just that expecting it to happen is a little.
From a statistics standpoint, it's not gonna happen.
Steve Smith was a 3rd round player, I believe.
I just think that, especially if you look at some of the other guys like Zylstra and Omar Bayless, there's far greater chance that Shi Smith makes the roster than some of these guys that we're talking about.
He's not going to not make the roster. I'm not saying that. Now you're changing. Now you're moving the needle. It's about being an actual contributor and counting on somebody. And particularly for me, the way I'm thinking about it is not counting on them in a perfect world, but counting on them if something bad goes happen, which is likely to happen at some point. Right, is to believe that this wide receiver group, you're trying to tell me a wide receiver group where one of them is a rookie and who has been battling an injury is all of a sudden not going to have any injuries this season? That's all I'm saying, right? Is that I'm not saying these guys ain't going to pan out to be awesome. It's just expecting it to be. I think that's why David Moore is probably the guy to look at, because I believe that they're plugging him in as a backup number 2 wide receiver. All right. So what would be another position group?
Quarterback.
Well, all right.
We have to talk about this, dude.
He's a cornerback. I was like, well, of course. I thought we already talked about quarterback.
No. This here, talk for a second. I gotta find it and pull it up. Oh, I got it. Okay, hang on.
CK, did you say cornerback?
Yeah.
No, quarterback.
Okay, I was confused too.
All right, so it's Sam Darnold or nothing.
No. It's not that
right
battle we're talking about. It's the backup. that we don't have locked in yet.
Yeah, this is pretty impressive.
Did you all see this? So this is Will Greer, okay? This was making the rounds on Twitter. And dude, this pissed me off. I'll just let you watch it and then I'll just explain later.
All right, I'm watching. It is a heave-ho. And it is right in a fucking trash can.
On the money.
Just watching it.
Well, there's more.
Shut up.
Now, bro, this is why this shit pissed me off, okay? If you're this good, if you can ball like this, if you're that accurate, if you can throw like that, bro, where have you been? And why is
no chance about that? Why don't we call him no chance Will? What's his name? No chance Will. I don't hear your name anymore. Will Greer.
Will not Greer.
Yeah,
the only thing I
Walton Greer.
The only thing I question about it is, was this like he did this one time, like one try and got it in, or had they been out there doing this and that was like his 15th throw? Because honestly, if you give me 25 throws, I could probably come pretty close to doing that. I'm not a quarterback. Not that far. Not that far.
Good throws. You won't be able
I mean, all I'm saying is, was this one time? No, I couldn't do it from
that was like the 40-yard line, and this is behind. So that was at least a 55-yard heave right there.
It's behind the goalpost.
And it like touched the moon. It like touched the moon.
Yeah.
You want to know why
like
this pisses me off so much? This pisses me off because it's like, why didn't Will Greer start all last year? Why did we waste all of that money on Teddy Bridgewater? Like, listen, okay, even if
there's a lot of who's the blame go on, I believe there's a lot of blame on this coaching staff, and I know Marty Hurney is gone, but let's not argue that it was just only a Marty Hurney thing. Mm-hmm. And I agree with you. Is this, and we don't want to go back to tank for whatever discussion. But Jesus Louises, like Teddy Bridgewater ain't on the team no more. He ain't even on the team no more.
But what I'm saying is like if Will Greer couldn't have been better than Teddy Bridgewater, then we should have been playing him to get the fucking better draft position and to get him more reps to see if he's worth the damn. And remember, I said this after we drafted Will Greer, that he was drafted as an emergency backup plan if Cam Newton kept getting hurt. They wanted someone to be able to come in and to play and be groomed in that offense. Mm-hmm. He couldn't beat out Kyle Allen. And again, like we're debating whether or not he's going to be the backup here.
No, like let's not be foolish here. Is that Ron Rivera and Kyle Allen have a love story, a straight love story. And look, it shows you this is that Heineke and Kyle Allen are still on the roster behind Fitzgerald. They wanted Kyle Allen more. He got hurt, and Heineke comes in and is a hero in that playoff game last year. I blame a lot of this on I won't say blame, that's not the right word, but I don't know if Will Greer has been given a shot.
He's not. He's been like everybody wants to talk about that game. And listen, I'm not about to sit here and say that he didn't make mistakes in that game. But we all know, we saw what was going on in that game. And Will Greer was put into a situation against a team that he had no shot against.
Untenable.
It was and here's the problem, and here's where I have to take a bit of an accountability approach on this as well. For at least the 3 games prior to that, we were begging for them to put Will Greer in so we could see what he was made of. And I think even Tony, you may have said, but the problem is they're going to put him in and you could possibly ruin him because you're going to put him into the worst possible situation on a losing season where nobody's playing for anything. Like there is no value in winning a game at that point in time. And so he came in and he was just like, when we talk about bad offensive lines, that was one of the worst offensive lines that game. Did Will Greer perform poorly even when he didn't have pressure? Absolutely. He wasn't a great player in that game. Sure. But to judge his entire
game one game.
Potential on
which
one
game
game.
are we talking about again?
The Saints.
It was like
I was at this game, by the way. I was there. I got to watch this in person. It was painful.
Yeah.
Bad, painful. And he
But our
didn't get a
whole
raw deal.
team was painfully bad.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. Is that you're trying to put in, and let's not forget this, folks, as we venture in and we're continuing to talk about training camp battles. How many of these battles are honestly battles, right? It's really about the bubble. Are you on the bubble or are you off the bubble? Because there's a number of players on this roster who don't have to worry about the bubble. They don't, right? But let's not act like Will Grier gets 97 damn reps with anybody at any time. And that's even when you're practicing in training camp, let alone when you're preparing for the whole week and you say, oh, shit, the quarterback can't go. You got to start tomorrow. And that's probably, to be honest, what they did to Will Grier. And I don't think that Will Grier is necessarily the answer, but I am 100% with Cody on this, is that like it tells us the failed experiment of last year.
Yeah. Can I also add this in there? A lot of people are going to take last year as an example as to why Will Grier wasn't going to work out. They're going to say, well, PJ Walker beat him out of the second position the entire year, right?
I do like him.
Who did PJ Walker play for in college? Have we not been talking about this for the entire tenure of Matt Rule and his seemingly, the nepotism that he shows as past players? I mean, let's be honest. He wasn't given a fair shot even with this regime.
Yeah.
Carolina sports guy, Chuck from Elizabeth City, is killing it with these comments. We're keep throwing trash cans like that. He's going to come away with a hefty contract.
My God.
Oh, man. How good is that? Oh, my Lord.
Kudos to you, Chuck from Elizabeth
Take that
City. You're killing it.
The question we have here, though, is not Will Grier and PJ Walker making the team. It's which one's number two, right? Because they're definitely both quarterback. So
yeah, which one's
of these two? Which do y'all think?
I don't know that we come into the season with two quarterbacks or three quarterbacks.
Yeah, I don't. I think here's what I think.
Okay.
It should be Will Grier, but I don't think it will. I think it will be PJ Walker.
Yeah, I think Will Grier is going to be the odd man out.
So is that based on talent, or is that based on you think just the way
nepotism? I feel like
okay.
I feel like it's
but okay, but
personally.
how can we say nepotism though? When I remember when Matt Rule came in, there was that clip of him seeing Will Grier, and it was like, oh yeah, I was tired of this guy throwing all over me in college. Like it seemed like he had a level of respect for Will Grier. Like, can we say the nepotism thing even after 1 year? Like, is it just because Marty Herney drafted him, or like I don't? To me, I think it's I'm gonna keep it blunt. I think it's a talent thing. I think we whiffed on him. I think his college tape, he had a lot of touchdowns, but he was a one-read quarterback in the spread offense, and I never saw it with him. And maybe he had some potential, but I think that he hasn't lived up.
Talking about PJ?
No, I'm
talking about Will Grier.
Talking about Will Grier. I think that he only looks good when he's throwing the trash cans.
Maybe. Well, I just can't take anything that Will says when it comes to a quarterback. It did look good.
Look good. You know what I'm saying? Like I've watched, and this might be a little bit before your time, Cody, is when they had those skills challenges during the Pro Bowl week, which were better than the Pro Bowl. Remember where they used to throw the football at the moving target?
Yeah. But they still do some of those.
No, now they like play Madden against each other. And fly drones or whatever. Anyway, let's move on from the quarterback discussion and to you guys pick the next one. And can you cover me for like a minute?
Yeah, I actually, go ahead, TK.
I was gonna say I picked the last two. It feels like so somebody else can feel free to chime in on their position group.
Let's do the one that we thought you said before and do cornerback. Let's do some DBs.
Well, I actually have one. This is I wanted to run this by you guys because I think there could be a lot of different opinions on this too. And I know this has been a hot topic on Panthers Twitter too. So former Panthers 2-time Pro Bowl defensive tackle K'Wan Short underwent shoulder surgery last season, now has been cleared for football activity, and is already in discussion with a handful of teams. Now, it never explicitly says that we are one of those teams, but it got me thinking, right? Knowing what we've done on our defensive line, we have Derek Brown, we have Brian Burns, Yetur Gross-Matos. Now we've got Hassan Reddick coming off the edge. You know, if KK is willing to come back on like a 1 or 2 year prove it deal, is that a bad thing to anyone else? Because I don't think it's the worst thing that we could do. Imagine putting, I mean, again, we have no idea what K1 has left in the tank at this juncture. We're hoping that he has something. But, dude, imagine putting him next to Derek Brown and just seeing if anything can pop off between those two. Right. I don't know. I figure it's something to at least talk about.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those things where it'd be all right, but I don't like if he goes and signs somewhere else. Obviously, being that I like him as a Panther, that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if he came back. But I don't like. I'm not sitting here like we need to sign KK. I really am. Like at this point in time, when's the last time he wasn't hurt in a season? At this point, like it's been every year for the past 3 to 4 years.
Yeah, I think that's what steers me away from it the most is just the injury history. He can produce whenever he's healthy, but we might have that taken care of. I think a player who's maybe not quite as good but stays healthy all season may be better than him. A guy who can be a little bit better maybe every game, but is out 6 games, 7 games, 8 games a year. I mean,
we got a defensive line right now that I think are very. I mean, I think right now we could just put it on the line. Who do we think is going to be the starting defensive? Let's talk about it then. Since we're talking about defensive line, let's talk about the defensive line. Right now, I think we got a surefire Brian Burns. We've got Derek Brown and Hassan Reddick on the other side. Are we playing that? Are we doing like real defensive ends or just linebackers on either side?
Well, so that's actually a good point. We only have 2 hand in the dirt defensive ends on our roster. That's I'll tell you right now. That is Marquis Haynes and Yetur Gross-Matos and Brian Burns. And
do they have him listed as defensive end again?
They do on the roster right here.
Brian Burns on the website listed as a defensive end.
Right, defensive end, yeah. And Hassan Reddick's on the left side, what they got him listed as on the roster.
Yeah. Defensive end as well?
Defensive end.
Yeah.
They got him. So those are gonna be the 2 people on the ends.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we don't really even know what kind of scheme we're running. Like we can say we're running 3-4. Maybe you could say we're running 4-3. I think we're in a position to be pretty versatile.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be another circumstance like we had when 2-3 years ago when Ron had this hybrid approach with his defense that just was garbage. It didn't work. It never we came into it thinking like, oh, this is definitely going to be a great year because it all changed. You know why we did that too? It was because of that Pittsburgh game when we just got eaten alive by Pittsburgh, and that was the last game I feel like Cam was really healthy. Even though we can go all the way back to the Chargers game, I think the Pittsburgh game did far more damage than the Chargers game.
I agree.
But listen, I think that's why we did that. But I don't think we can do this versatile thing. I think we've got to have consistency because we've learned that's how a lot of these players are going to be successful is playing certain techniques the way that they've always played them.
Yeah. What group are you guys on?
Defensive
line. Defensive line. I also floated out teams are talking to K'Wan Short, who's been cleared after a shoulder injury. So I posed the question, if K'Wan Short comes back on a 1 or 2 year, not a break the bank kind of deal, but just to come back and be a good rotational defensive tackle, are people in with that? And a lot of points about injuries. which is, obviously true. He's got to prove to stay healthy. But, when you look at the pass rush that we do have, again, a lot of these guys, it's a prove-it year for so many players on our team, all over the roster, not just on our defense.
One player that stands out to me is Christian Miller.
Yeah.
Opted out during COVID.
He's back.
And is that
he was always supposed to have this
higher end draft pick? You know what I'm saying? Like he was a third round maybe or something like that.
Yeah, but it was one of those picks where we were like, I can't believe we got him in the third round. It was like a value pick type of thing, similar to Gross Matos and Jeremy Chin, I guess, late in the second, like we had him. I mean, these are
be a bubble player though.
Yeah.
We have him listed at third.
He doesn't have a rapport with the coaching staff.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, he probably has the lack of He has the lack of rapport at this point. Like, I think when you opt out for a season, I know that you're not supposed to hold that against him. Do you think there is a single team in the NFL that doesn't look at somebody who opted out last year and thinks, I don't want them on, or it has some negative thought about that player? I guarantee you.
You got to wonder if that conversation not only has shifted from opt out to, did you opt out and get the vaccine? Are you anti-vaxxer and this and that? You know what I mean? Like now the clubs are starting to look at people who aren't getting the vaccine as a risk, as a liability when it comes to their ability.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so
right now, we didn't even really figure out who what we thought were the real position battles here. So right now, the defensive end, we've kind of got those locked in with Hassan Reddick and Brian Burns on the ends. We know Derek Brown's there. Now we have the other tackle that is that going to be our draft pick? Is that going to be the guy that we're thinking is going to be taking that position? Who do we have as our tackles?
Who was the guy that a lot of people like? A lot of people like Daquan Jones.
Daquan's the guy that we brought in via free agency.
Right. Okay. He's going to make the team because he's a veteran presence there. 9 years in the league, former Penn State guy. I think the name that I was thinking of was Davion Nixon.
Yes.
Who's out of Iowa, which a lot of people have they believe that. And Bravion Roy was good too. It was good last year.
Yeah, so he's going to make the team.
Group. It's not the worst group at defensive tackle.
No,
I'm just starting to think about Marquis Haynes. Is that guys, man? He's really supposed to be. He's supposed to be kind of showing out who was it that went to kind of like a Mario Addison type player to me?
That's who Ron Rivera compared him to. He said it looked like a young Mario Addison, but so far he has not turned out to be the kind of player that Mario Addison was, at least for us. Although Mario Addison didn't start his career with a bang. Yetur Gross-Matos in his second year. And to go back to Bravion Roy for a minute, he's going to stay on the team because he's going to be a backup one tech for Derek Brown. He's not that three tech pass rusher.
Right.
So on downs, when it's time to bring Derek Brown out and give him a breather, we're going to be putting in Bravion Roy. So he's still going to be there. Again, I seem to think I'm hoping and I'm hearing that Davion Nixon has the potential to make giant waves on our defense and really be a disruptor in the middle. That could definitely happen. I'm hoping that it does happen. And then again, you have to
happen, Cody. If that does happen, then this defensive tackle group turns out to be a strength.
Yeah.
And this defensive line could be a top 5 D line if that's true.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. But here's my question. Are we we talk about what defense are we going to be running? Do you think there is a shot that we're going to be running a 5 front? I mean, you got to think about these people that we have on the front. You can have an alternate. You can put Hassan Reddick on one side. I mean, and the reason I say that is they've invested with 2 cornerbacks. Right now we have J.C. Horn, who is a lockdown, man-to-man coverage type of guy. And then we've put I would say we put some value on our linebacking core in the offseason with Perryman to try to take care of the coverage for slot receivers and stuff like that. I don't know if it's going to work out, but I think that it seems like we're really all in on our defensive front this year.
I agree that the 5-man defensive front could work. I think if you had elite linebackers, to be honest with you, and we don't have elite linebackers because you got that means you're going to leave 2 guys out there in the middle covering everything. I just don't think it's going to work.
I think we're probably going to use a lot of blitzes.
Yeah.
I think we're going to disguise a lot of blitzes, and we're going to use our speed. I mean, think of J.C. Horn, Dante Jackson, Jeremy Chin, and Brian Burns. Having any of those guys fake the blitz and then drop back into coverage. Again, you heard from Matt Rule when he was signed that he likes guys with that high athletic profile, physical potential, because they offer such a larger slate of possibilities of things that they can do if they're being matched up by a good defensive coordinator. So I think you're seeing that on our defense now. We have so much speed. We have power in the middle. We're going to be able to really be versatile in what we want to do. Right. And I think confusion is going to really be a card in our deck here, really not showing our hands as much.
Speed. Well, yeah, I think confusion and speed. And when you ask this CK amount, is it a 3 front, 4 front, or even a 5 front? Right? Is that I think at times it's going to feel like a 5 front.
Yeah.
Right. But I think this is, and in some ways we could run a 3-4, but it really be a 4-3 because the guys that are they're just not handing the dirt as much. Right. If you think about it, is that Hassan Reddick plays better, not handing the dirt, kind of a stand-up defensive end. Right. I think Christian Miller was pegged as that. You almost wonder if you're going to put like Derek Brown, YGM, and one other guy out there, and then you have Brian Burns and Hassan Reddick standing up. Right. And it's like a 3-4, 4-3. We don't know really what it is. The kind of thing. So it's going to be that will be exciting to see. And what will be exciting to see is if we can figure it out. Can we crack the code for having these kind of tweeners in one aspect? How do we find the system that fits these players right or best will be something to watch.
Yeah. And for the people that are saying Hassan Reddick is going to be a bust because he can't cover, the reason he had a good year last year is because the Cardinals finally put him where he was supposed to be.
Right.
You guys want to talk about somebody else who doesn't know how to cover, who has actually never played out of position the way that he should have been, is Von Miller. Von Miller is the exact same type of player that is not going to be good in coverage, but is going to dominate as far as a pass rusher. And we saw it last year with Hassan Reddick and the Cardinals. Mm-hmm. They just took 4 years too long to figure out where he was at. And then by the time they figured it out, they already had a linebacking core that includes Chandler Jones and Isaiah Simmons. They're not going to be able to bring somebody back with us like Hassan Reddick to be able to, pay him as well as these other, you got to remember what they did this offseason. They put a lot of money in other places.
Hassan Reddick almost became the most recent version of Quentin Coples. And if you're a Carolina Tar Heel fan, you will understand that this isn't a guy who's a beast, Tommy. It's a damn beast. I think he was from Kinston, North Carolina on top of that. But it was just the coach's belief that he had to be a drop back defensive end. You know what I'm saying? It's just because you're super athletic does not mean you need to be out there trying to cover tight ends.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right.
And I think that we got players now that are equipped to do that kind of thing. Like now, you have a J.C. Horn. You have a lot of these bigger, stronger guys like Jeremy Chin that we've added to our defensive backfield that are the kind of matchup nightmares for tight ends. The guys that can be big and fast and physical and just jump in the way of those routes. Like we have those guys now. And, we talk about Joe Brady a lot. And At least me, I know I'm very optimistic. I think Joe Brady is a very good offensive coordinator, but I still feel like we're not excited enough to see what Phil Snow can do with this defense. I maintain that last year was not a complete version of what Phil Snow wants the Panthers to be defensively, both him and Matt Rule. I'm excited because I think now, this year, we're going to see a much better representation of what the Panthers defense intends to be for the next few years. Like that Matt Rule and Phil Snow and Joe Brady, right now they're trying to build a culture of dominance on offense and defense. And that involves knowing what you want to be on offense and defense. This year, I think we're finally going to start to see what that really means for us.
Yeah, 100%.
Let's move to, since we were talking about that coverage and those types of players, let's talk about the cornerbacks and the safeties. Right now listed a cornerback, and in alphabetical order, turns out to almost be starting order. Almost. AJ Bouye is the first one, but still, J.C. Horn, Dante Jackson, then AJ Bouye, Jalen Julius, never heard of him, Rashawn Melvin, he's played with us a little bit, I guess, Troy Pride Jr., Keith Taylor, Stanley Thomas Oliver III. Folks, you better temper your Troy Pride Jr. hatred.
Oh yeah,
hatred, because he's gonna make this team, bro.
Oh yeah, for sure.
There's no reason he shouldn't. There's no reason he shouldn't.
Right now, you're talking about Horn, Jackson starters, Bouye likely at the nickel. You need Troy Pride Jr. and only in his second year. Come on, folks. I think people gave up on him too quickly.
What do we expect him to be for us?
Yeah.
Let me just ask him. What's Troy Pride's future with us? What's he going to do?
I think in the best case scenario, he becomes a reasonable number 2 corner.
Yeah.
So just a number 2 corner. So
23 years old. He's 23 years old. He had 1 year in the league. I'm not ready to say. I mean, you know what is he not going to be? I don't know. Is that people are ready to cut him? I'm sorry. I just don't think. Look, we gave Dante Jackson 4 years. 4 years, man. Right. And I'm not saying that he's going to be great. I don't know what he will be, but to quit on him is also, I think, a little premature.
Yeah. Dante Jackson also had like 6 interceptions his rookie year, didn't he? It's the only other thing.
He's showing a higher ceiling.
Yeah.
Here's what I will say. If anything, you reading off that list of cornerbacks, you better pray that J.C. Horn works out the way that we want him to be.
Oh, yes.
You've gotta pray, because right now we are
look a little better, doesn't it? When you look at that group.
Yeah, like if for whatever reason J.C. Horn turns out to be a massive bust, which I think we all are assuming that that's not going to be the case. I mean, if anybody believes in the chat that he's going to be a bust, just hand in your Panthers fan card immediately. Like, just you clearly are Cephas and you want to be somebody who's just here to troll. And that's
Cephas
it. Get out of here.
Cephas said he's too grabby, bro.
Yeah. So just hand it in. But listen, if he doesn't work out, if he ends up being a bust, which we got to give him a few years, but let's say this year he turns out to be garbage, right? We have nothing. How about
this? Say this. Don't even take that. It turns out to be garbage. What if he just gets hurt?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. Like,
and you want to shit on me about Troy Pride? How about that? You'll be licking my asshole for Troy Pride Jr. after that.
Let me say this, and let me say this boldly. I am already and listen, I don't care if people want to talk shit on me or what. J.C. Horn, right now, before me ever having seen one snap of him playing NFL football, J.C. Horn is already one of the best defensive players on our team. Fight me, bro. Fight me. That's how confident I am. That's how confident I'm sitting here now. J.C. Horn is a certified badass, And dude, I genuinely feel in my soul that's our next defensive rookie of the
If we can get a an elite linebacker, like right now we have, what would you say, Brian Burns, top 5 defensive end?
Well, we're all rooting for
the
it to
potential to be, yeah.
Let's
We're
say
all
top
he's
10.
not there.
Top 10. I mean, he was what, number
Loki, whatever his name is.
he was number 2 in the entire NFL for pressures last year, right? Am I right on that?
Let me check.
It's not
something like that.
Yeah, and so let's assume that he's top 10, right? And then you have Jeremy Chin, you know, who is now safety. You know, what we saw last year, I think you can consider him in probably the top 15 at whatever position that he's going to be in, just based on his football knowledge. And then you have, if JC Horn turns out to be a top 10 cornerback in this league, I mean, the only thing we would be missing as far as having an elite person on every level of this defense is going to be linebacker.
That's a good point.
If we miss on JC Horn, which we didn't, I think the pedigree, because I mean, people, I know we hate the Saints, but Joe Horn was a sick ass wide receiver. Dude. He was fucking amazing, and he won't the most athletic. Like there was a lot to his game that was more than just being an NFL player. Like he was a straight pro, right?
Yeah.
And so if you can bring that to your kid, like I mean, he's had everything put out right there. And I got to tell you, when we read that list off, guys, it makes in retrospect, either the pick that we made because we were all not moaning or bemoaning it, but you know what I'm saying? Was it the right one? Was it the right one? Was it the right one? But when you look at that position group right now, you almost wonder, how could we made a different pick? Good God. It's thin, homie, and short. Right.
Well, I wanted to ask, you know, CK, you said that if JC Horn gets hurt or is no good, then we have nothing. What about Bouye? Are we out on him?
I mean, you gotta keep it. I mean, he had one season as a Pro Bowl, right? That was it. And
yeah, but everybody gave what's his name?
He had a suspension last year.
I believe more in AJ Bouye than I do in Troy Pride.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Well, the difference is Bouye is 29. Troy Pride's 23. That's
man. You gave Troy Pride one chance to be like what did you need him to be to make you fucking amazed?
We also play in the division that has the best wide receivers of the NFL in our division.
Dante Jackson is.
Yeah, but he doesn't have the athletic ability that Dante Jackson does. He can't run a 4.3, and he's not big. He's not fast. He's not long. At least AJ Bouye, like, yeah, say what you want about injuries or whatever, but at least we've seen the guy play at something considered to be a high level. And I think when you add Dante Jackson and JC Horn, like, I'm actually not too mad at the depth right there. And then if you have to throw in Troy Pride as the one wild card, then I guess it's better than nothing.
Troy Pride ran a 4.4, huh, man?
Troy Pride had more tackles last year than Dante Jackson did.
He ran a 4.4.
But we've talked about this. Tackles in the secondary isn't a great thing.
What else are we talking
That's true.
about?
No, there's 10 numbers between 4.4 and 4.5. Or 9 numbers. Like there's a difference between 4.49 and 4.41.
Look, sorry. Yeah.
10 fractional numbers between that.
But it's like,
thank you.
Yeah.
But it's the difference between 4 or 5.
You give it like
almost running a 4.5 and almost running a 4.3. It's a big difference.
You're right. There is a huge difference, but when it comes down to it,
NFL.com, bro. This is all I got. It just says 4.4, 13 on the bench, 35.5 on the vertical jump. You know what? How about this? Bring up your boy, Dante.
I'm looking at it.
I'd be interested. And look, I don't hate on Dante. I think he could be good. But first of all, he's in a contract year for the Panthers. He's struggled with some injury last year.
Oh, this is the guy that got baby on.
You guys are going to give up and act like Troy Pride is a shit player. And we've really seen him in a very limited capacity.
I remember people joking on him because he's got baby arms. He's got 30-inch arms or something like that.
Oh,
And like when you're in corner,
if they touch the ground when he walks,
it was like, but who was it? It was someone famous on Panthers Twitter. They were like shitting on Troy Pride because he has T-Rex arms and is playing cornerback. I thought that was fun.
I want to see it. I want to see. Well, look it up. I want you to tell me how short his hands are 9 inches. Oh, his arms are 30 and 5/8.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Apparently, that's really short.
Well, you would be able to let us know. I don't know. What are Dante? Have you found it back Danny?
No, I can't find his credential. I can fold it.
Let me see if I can just type it in. This. I already got this. Let's see if I can do this. No, there's not a. Now, Dante Jackson. All right, what's the next position group we're going to argue about after this one?
We want to look at?
I don't know where.
I've got two that are kind of off. Well, not really. I missed positions.
All right, let's see. What we say, Dante? What? Let's see. All right, so yes, Dante ran a 4.32. His broad
29-inch arms.
He had 7. Yeah, he's got shorter arms, little Mo. Look, he's shorter and smaller, and he got a 13 on the bench press and didn't do nothing else. So don't act like he's just this superior athlete.
I mean, he almost runs a 4.2.
4.32.
Hold on. Cody, there's 12 fractional numbers. There's 12 fractional numbers.
12 numbers.
He ran almost a 4.2.
There's 12 fractional numbers between 4. So hold on. So the argument between 4.3 and 4.4 is too much, but between 4.32 and 4.2 is not. That doesn't make any sense.
No. If it said a 4.4. Which is dumb that it didn't.
Say a 4.4 instead of 4.4. Yeah, all right. So a 4.4.
Okay. It doesn't say. Okay, if that number is 4.49, then that's closer.
But
to
it wasn't.
It was 4.5.
Yeah, it wasn't 4.4.
It was 4.49.
So it was 4.40.
Yeah, 4.40.
Yeah, you don't put the zero there. Yeah.
That's good, homie.
Yeah,
he's a good athlete. He's still not. He's not an athlete. Dante Jackson.
4.4.
This isn't, man. Look,
he almost doubled his bench press
right now.
But okay, didn't you just make the argument that, or one of you did that, like guys that are drafted in later rounds? Oh, but they're not meant to be big name guys anywhere.
That's why we said number 2 cornerback. If
you watch Dante Jackson's film and compare it to Troy Pride's film from college, it's night and day difference.
Who gives a fuck? That's so stupid. They're on our team already, homie. Why don't we watch the way they play now?
Yeah, okay. And Troy Pride is not as good as Dante Jackson. Troy Pride is not.
It's just
Troy Pride is not going to be a starter on this team.
You want Dante Jackson to be what you thought he was going to be. That's what it really truly comes down to. Is you want him to be what you thought he could be, and you've already determined what Troy Pride Jr. can be, and that's just not right. I'm not saying he's going to be great, but goddamn, everybody, I'm calling everybody out in Panther Nation who has said cut this dude right away, and I don't know if he's going to be good or bad, but to give up on a player in bad situations. In difficult situations in the rookie year is too much. It's too much, man. Is that look, we've got 3 more years with this dude or 2 more years. Why don't we just see how it works out?
Yeah, I mean, no one's saying cut him.
You're sitting here telling me I should depend on Terence Marshall Jr. and we ain't seen a goddamn snap from this.
Yeah, there's a difference. They ain't on the same level. You're talking about mice and men, bro. They're not the same thing. They're not the same thing. They were never the kind of player
let's move on to the
Terence Marshall or Dante Jackson were.
I disagree. I think you are too set I think you've dug in too much in your foxhole.
No, man. What has he ever done for this team? You're just saying, hey, maybe he will just because he hasn't been given a chance. Okay. Well, he's gonna get that chance. No one's denying that he should have a chance. Well, of course, he should have a chance. I'm just
want
saying I'm not gonna believe in him until I see him do something that's worth the damn. I don't think that's
name some
unreasonable.
plays that he got blown up on. That he like. How many times did you see him just get
Don't
totally?
worry. We could name those. There's a couple of them.
That's what I would look at.
At the same time, he was thrown in at like a backup again. You know, and like I feel
the best receiving core in the NFL.
We don't need to run over motherfucker with a bus just yet. How about that?
I mean, yeah, I don't think Cody's even doing that, to be fair.
Yeah, I'm not throwing him.
Running over and backing up with him on his wheelchair.
No,
bro.
He's just saying, like, if you're going to compare them to Dante Jackson, that's a completely different scenario. I agree with you, Tony. I think 100%. I think Troy Pride has an opportunity to be a better cornerback than Dante Jackson if given that opportunity. Because I mean, I haven't been a fan of Dante Jackson. You could sit there and all day and point out how many interceptions he has. I can point out every one of those interceptions that were just thrown right into his belly. If he dropped, he was going to laughed at. Right, every single his entire rookie season was littered with them. Like, let's be honest about this.
But he didn't drop them.
This circles back to my
that's like saying a wide receiver didn't drop the pass, but couldn't.
Right, he did what you expect him to do when the ball was thrown to him.
Exactly, but it wasn't thrown. It was thrown right to him. It wasn't like he was in great coverage. He was thrown.
That's not his fault.
Exactly, but you can't be praising the guy for an interception that was just thrown into his lap. That's what I'm saying. Like, he had 6 interceptions and 5 of them were literally in his no wide receiver within 10 yards of the ball. Like,
that may be a little extreme. I don't know about that.
Just only looking
go back and watch some of those rookie interceptions.
I'll tell you.
I just want to circle back to this. My whole point was not whether or not Troy Pride is better than Dante or this or that. That we're going to be greater than that one. If JC Horn, Dante, and AJ don't stay healthy all fucking year and turn out to be pretty good, you better hope he's not a fucking bum.
Yeah.
That's it.
But yeah, but then if we're in that situation, we might be up a tree anyway.
Well, okay. Well, no. So then you don't give a fuck. All right. So why don't we get to the next position group? Let's move on to the safeties, which you have been on record of saying is abysmal. It's Justin Burris. They do not have our other safety listed, as in Jeremy Chin.
You want me to read it? I've got the list of all 5 right here.
Yeah, do it.
Kenny Robinson, JT eBay, Sam Franklin, Sean Chandler, Justin Burris.
What do they have Chin listed as right now? Is it just a linebacker?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know why they still have him listed as a linebacker. They've announced that they're moving him to safety.
Have they?
Yeah, they made an official.
Much. Yeah, they said they want to move him back to his main position, which will be safety.
Well, I mean, how about this? Is if Justin Burris is half as bad as Cody believes he is, then we're up Sam Franklin's creek without a paddle.
Which is why I think we've gone so far in on this defensive line. Hopefully the safety never is an issue because the ball will never get thrown there.
Yeah, we're hoping that we hit him or intercept him somewhere along the way first.
It's a strategy. It's definitely a strategy.
And like, I don't know what to think about this, man, because like my mind says this is a glaring hole on our roster. I'm sorry if any of you are going to try and blow smoke up my ass and tell me that any one of these guys is going to be like the guy for us. I'm like, dude.
Feels like it's a position group where there might be a late addition in free.
By the way, 31, 34, 42, 37, and 27. So they're all old as fuck, too. Even better.
Well, that's not,
dude.
I mean, we all thought Kirk Coleman was going to be a bum, and he turned out to be pretty damn good for us.
Who thought Coleman would be a bum?
No, he was not, bro.
Well, he was old. He was
that 2015 defense, man. Don't act like he was sorry. Come on.
No, I'm not. I'm saying he was damn good. He was fucking.
Right.
Coleman was badass for us.
That being older at that position isn't awful, right? We had Roman Harper come in here, old as shit at that point. We've always kind of sprinkled in this position group by need and necessity. I wouldn't be surprised though if there was a late addition to this bunch.
Well, and
I don't disagree.
I'm gonna bring up the point here too. Burris was a 4th round pick. So, Cody, we're talking about, I don't think most of the time you don't expect a 4th round pick to be a starter. So I don't expect much out of him to be a starter. And I do really hope that we sign a late day signing for this.
Yeah.
Is a guy we're rooting for, right? As he has not been a bum. Again, it's like this, is that it's kind of like what I've been talking about with the wide, like is once the original plan doesn't work, you're counting so much on the backup plan. But I do think this is the position group where the original plan is the most dubious from the start.
What about this guy, Lano Hill? I didn't even hear y'all mention that on the roster because I'm sitting here looking at the roster on ESPN. It's a guy from Seattle, looks like. 3rd round pick. 6'1", 215.
What's
Not
his
sure.
name?
25. Lano Hill.
Play safety?
Yeah. He's
I'm
listed
not
on
sure.
our roster.
He's
I
not.
don't know. The Panthers roster doesn't list him.
Oh, well, I'm just looking on. I'm sorry. I was looking on ESPN. I'm not sure.
Oh, wait, here he is. Defensive back, 6'1", out of Michigan, 5th-year player.
3rd round pick.
They just have listed as a DB. Let me see who else listed as just DB. And it's almost like where they him and Miles Hartsfield are the 2 guys that they don't wait.
Did we mention Sean Chandler too?
Yeah, that's it.
Delano Hill.
Yeah. Well, how about this? It doesn't make us feel any better.
Yeah, no, it definitely doesn't. And my thing is free safety, right? Because like if Jeremy Chin, I think Jeremy Chin has the potential to be a damn good strong safety. I mean, I'm talking like maybe hopefully one day, maybe even Troy Polamalu-esque. That's what we're hoping, right? But yeah, at the free safety position, it's a glaring hole for us right now. I know somebody mentioned that Kenny Robinson's 6'3", 22 years old, or no, 27, 6'3", 200 pounds, and he can kind of run. Maybe he fills in at that position. Again, that's another guy that we drafted that you hope can turn into something. He's in his 2nd year. Listen, I would love nothing wrong, or I would love nothing more than to be wrong about the guys that we've drafted that haven't done something yet. Like if you're a sleeper and you're ready to contribute on this team, I'm pumped for it, man. Whoever it is.
If you had compared this roster to a craps table, right, is that when we get to the safety position right now, we're talking about the kind of longest odds. It's kind of like the hard 10 at that point, is that this is where we have put we have allocated our risk on this defense to the most. And we didn't really even talk about the linebacker group, is that I do believe that Shaq Thompson has a lot to me to prove as a player still. Maybe not prove. That might not be the word, because he's an NFL player. I'm not. He, he don't got to prove shit to me. But I do want to see Shaq Thompson. I think he's got to play better than last year. How about that?
Well, I think he needs to play like he did the last half of last year.
All right, after they got rid of the big black penis.
Right. Right.
Who was that guy? He looked like a giant penis when he took his helmet off.
I can't even remember his name. It was Whitehead. Whitehead. Tired Whitehead.
Yeah.
Watch out for it's actually the opposite of what he looks like.
Yeah.
Gross.
Tony, you just need to get out of here. Just go and get out, bro. you're good. Just exit through the back. You'll be fine.
Jermaine Carter Jr. has not a lot to prove, wants to prove a lot. I think he wants to prove a lot. And what else did we do at linebacker group real quick before we switch back to the offensive side of the ball? I don't even know who else we got. We got
Rashawn Melvin, Keith
So
Taylor.
I have a list right here. Again, I'm just
Wait
on
till you hear
Panthers.
these names.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm just on Panthers Panthers.com. So we have Christian Miller, Shaq Thompson, Julian Stanford, Denzel Perryman, Frankie Louvu, Clay Johnston, Patty Fisher, Jeremy Chin, who's still listed at linebacker, and Jermaine Carter Jr. Now this is interesting to me because last year we really complained. I mean, the absence of Luke Kuechly was blatantly obvious that we did not have him and that we were missing him. And let's be frank, it's going to be a long time until we find someone that can even do half of what Luke Kuechly does. Okay. But in the meantime, we're just hoping that someone can, that we can have an at least serviceable linebacking core. Again,
well,
right now,
let me ask you this: who truly is it? If you believe that Jeremy Chin is actually going to be playing more kind of a slide safety position, you know what I'm saying? We're talking about the only true linebacker names on this list are Shaq Thompson and Perryman. Christian Miller, we don't know what the fuck he is, and he's more of a defensive end.
Yeah, he's literally listed that way too.
That don't count. Julian Stanford, who the hell is he? Frankie Louva, who the hell is he? Clay Johnston, who is he? This is about Jermaine Carter, Denzel Perryman, and Shaq Thompson. If that's not the group, dude, I don't know who is.
Yep, and I think especially when we go to our 3-4 fronts, Denzel Perryman and Shaq Thompson are going to be the mics in the middle. And then we're going to have our edge rushers in the form of Hassan Reddick and Brian Burns playing the outside. Maybe Jermaine Carter Jr. gets some looks here and there. Again, and then when you talk about Christian Miller, you're talking about edge rusher. I would even throw Marquis Haynes into this mix. I know they have him listed as a defensive end, but he was also what's called a joker defensive end, meaning he's a lighter guy. They'll put him at 5 tech, but they'll also have him rush at an outside linebacker position. So again, we really don't have too many options in the middle. And you hit the nail on the head, Tony. It's Shaq Thompson, which we know, Perriman, who we brought in to be our man in the middle, who is a thumper. I do think that he is going to drastically help our run defense. At least I'm hoping. It has to be in a better jump up in talent over what we had before. And Jermaine Carter. And I think Jermaine Carter is an interesting conversation. He's in his 4th year. He'll be a free agent after this year. And is he just depth? Like, is he ever going to come into a starting role here? I kind of don't think so now.
All right, let's switch over to the offensive side of the ball, and let's talk starting with, we've already done the wide receiver group. Really, and the quarterback group, there's only 2 position groups left. The offensive line, we can split them up if you'd like into center, guard, tackle. I think that might be a little overcomplicated, as in, let's talk offensive line and tight end group. And I got to tell you this is that, clearly we're happy that we signed Taylor Moton, right? A necessity. And what I think is awesome, I've finally had it pulled up, is who's going to fill out the rest of this offensive line. I know everybody believes that Paradis is going to be the starter. I like this is, I'm telling you, you guys are pegging a lot of people in to play that dubious left tackle position. A lot of people love Trent Scott. I still don't think it's going to be him. I think it's going to be, look at this, as this is his picture on Panthers.com. Long neck, Cam Irvin.
Wow.
It's a long neck.
It's a long neck.
A giraffe. He looks like a giraffe. Anyway, Cam Irvin, Brady Christensen. Who the hell is going to play on this offensive line? Clearly, it's going to be Taylor Moton. up there somewhere. Matt Paradis, fill in the rest of it and tell us what we should look forward to when it comes to training camp.
So listen, man. I'd like to call my shots early, and if I'm wrong, I don't mind if I'm wrong badly. Okay, I'm calling my shot. Deontay Brown is about to make big time waves, y'all. We drafted this man in the 6th round. He's one of those guys that I've been watching for, every time I evaluate talent. Of course, you're always watching Alabama every year because they have a ton of first-round draft picks. And your eyes just always go to Deontay Brown on film, just destroying dudes. I'm talking about bouncing dudes out the paint, bro. Strong as hell. The guy is a boulder. And I think that if he really turns it on, he has the potential to be a game changer in our offensive line. Again, I know he's not necessarily a big name per se. If you've been following me and other Panther content creators that follow the draft and college, we've been telling you that he's a great player, but I think he could be really special for us. And we might even potentially build around him in our interior. I believe he's that good. And then tackle, anyone's guess who left tackle is going to be. Tony believes it's Cam Irving for some reason. Maybe so. I don't know. I hope that Brady Christensen plays this year. I want to see him on our offensive line, and I want to see him contribute meaningful snaps.
When you look at this bunch, Cody, do you compare this bunch outside of defensive line? I feel like there's been this is kind of a tenuous group of players. Like it could work out to be pretty good. But what is the group that is dominant? Right? Like, the most dominant group. And if you even say wide receiver, I think there's question marks there, but just because there's 2 of them and you're counting on a rookie to contribute. I think defensive front is the most sure group out of this entire team. I don't know if this offensive line is that it's a lot of upside, kind of a lot of hopes and wishes, a lot of if my aunt had nuts to be my uncle type thing. But right now is that, Taylor Moton and Paradis are the only players that even have a name.
Yeah. David Moore, John Miller, Mike Horton,
so many
Daly, and Deontay Brown are currently listed as guards for us. And here's another question that doesn't go away. Is Greg Little just the ultimate bust? Is there no future for him on this football team? And by the way,
you give him any fucking opportunity, but you want to piss on Troy Pride.
Yeah, it's so funny that you say that because I was about to pitch it right back at you, dude. People are like, okay, I'm wanting to not give up on Greg Little, and everyone wants to write him off like, okay, he's done, he's trash, whatever.
2 fucking years.
So why do it for one and not the other?
Because one we've only seen play in 3 games. The other one we've seen and play in 23 games.
Okay, maybe he was in the wrong. Maybe he was in the wrong. Maybe he was in the wrong position, though.
Oh my god!
And it's not like we didn't see Troy Pride make a bunch of bad plays, also. So what's the difference?
What did Troy Pride bang your sister, bro?
No. Did Greg Little? No, none of them did. Who hurt you, man? Why can't Greg Little be a meaningful contributor on this football team?
He might be, but like, how the fuck are you ready to cut Troy Pride Jr.? But like, you're taking me. I never said cut Troy Pride. I'm saying that he's never shown anything that's indicative of a starter. Right. So why would I believe that it is now? Well, what is Greg Little showed us that's indicative of a starter?
There's
nothing.
That's nothing. I agree with Cody on this. I think that he could have a position, but to compare him to Pride, I think is a bit problematic. Greg Little has had more opportunity to make the team as a starter than Troy Pride ever had. And so I think that for multiple years to have a disappointment like Greg Little has been, I think that's where Tony has a point. But I do think that
straight up, how many times has he talked shit on this podcast about
Marty Hurney, man. Well, but it's because I remember watching his Ole Miss film and being like, "Ugh, why does anyone like this guy?" Like I didn't like him watching his film.
Ely or Greg Little, and I will forever say Greg Little because Coney Ely wasn't a bust. He had one phenomenal fucking game.
Right. Damn near Super Bowl MVP.
I know. I mean, like, how about that? How does that guy have that game in that stage and then his career? So, I mean, I think Greg Little, I'm ready to say he's a bust. I don't know what you should do with him. Don't know what you should do with him. But fucking stop shitting on Troy Pride.
Stop defending him. He's never done anything.
I'm not even defending him.
Yes, you are.
Him.
If you're saying that I want him,
that's all I'm saying is don't make him the sacrificial lamb.
If you're saying that I want him cut, then I'm saying that you want him to be our starter.
You said he's a bum. Anyway. All right. So the offensive line continues to be difficult to forecast at this point.
At the best. Yeah.
The top talking points. What are the top talking points when it comes to this offensive line? Real quickly, I think one is not only Taylor Moton extension, but can we try him at left tackle? Right? Like that's one. Another is Brady Christensen a bum? Like four-man rush kind of tells us. I feel like they're way down on Brady Christensen. And I also believe that the continued reference comes back. Well, he's like a third-round tackle or second-round guard. To me, that's a top storyline. 3, do you think it's Greg Little or do you think it is Cam Irvin and the group of Trent Williams fighting for a real role on this offensive line? Like, what's the third? Do I got him out of? Why don't you rank the offensive line stories then? Maybe. Like, what do I got out of line? I think Moton extension and moving to left tackle has to be the number one.
Right.
I mean, really, what's like even like other than that? It's just all speculation bullshit. Right. What's next? Who's going to play left tackle? Who's going to play on the other side of Moton? I don't know how you frame the question.
Can we just say this? Because it's such a question mark. I don't think it's who's going to play left tackle. I think the question is who's going to be our tackles? Because right. I'm telling you,
who plays opposite of Moton, whatever it is.
Yeah, but that does mean it's okay. Taylor Moton's contract, but also does he stay at right tackle? And number 2, do any of these other bubble guys work into the line and actually prove themselves to be something? Like right now, we might as well be throwing arrows at a dartboard. Oh, I'll say Brady Christensen, and then CK will say Trent Scott.
Right.
And then you'll say Cam Irvin. Like right now, we just don't know anything.
Right. So one is all right. So what the number one storyline then needs to be who plays on the other side of Moton.
Yeah, I mean that's
the number one.
Yeah, I would say so.
And then number 2, how does that affect who the fuck is our guards are? Like it's almost a revolve. It's almost like they're making them jump on the carousel. Like they give Moton the first seat, and then they start the carousel up, and then these other guys got to jump on and figure out where the fuck they're at.
It really is. This is there is by far not a position that I'm excited to start to hear news about more than our offensive line. We have a bunch of guys on the bubble. Trent Scott, Cam Irving, Deontay Brown, David Moore, Greg Little, Brady Christensen. Like there's only so many spots, you know?
Right.
Oh, they're going to put them all. All those players that you said their name, I guarantee they're going to be on the team. Guarantee every one of those names, maybe minus potentially Greg. I think they're all there. I think this is let's throw spaghetti, let's throw shit at the wall till it sticks.
I mean, you might not be wrong.
All right. So the last position group is the tight end group. And we briefly spoke about this last week where Joe Brady came out. Well, we heard Dan Arnold saying he's ready to step up to the next, to be a real contributor for a team, which is exciting. The sad part about this was followed up that Joe Brady said that tight ends were a giant part of his offense, that somehow were not part of his offense when he only had a quarterback can throw 5 yards down the field. You would think if you had that would be where you would see some tight ends.
Right.
Anyway, right now I feel like we're only down to what? How many names? What we got? Tremble?
Tommy Tremble.
Arnold.
We have Dan Arnold. We have Tommy Tremble. We have Ian Thomas. I don't know if there's any more, but if there are, it doesn't matter. Those are the only three names that matter.
All three stay on the team. Almost it's like is Ian Thomas running unopposed?
Oh,
like in an election unopposed where he?
No, I think Ian Thomas might not be on the team.
How? Well, who's going to fucking supplant him?
We have 2 new tight end like Tommy Tremble and Dan Arnold.
Yeah, keep 3 tight ends. There's no way you just keep 2.
But again, you just said that we're going to keep all those offensive linemen. They're all making the team.
Right.
You think that we're going to keep 6 wide receivers? Like it's only a 53-man roster, right?
Keep 5 wide receivers personally. But maybe 6 is. But no, do you really think you can roll into the season? When was the last time that any team rolled into the season with just 2 tight ends? Period. Where they got to go out there on special teams and play?
Who are the other tight ends on our team? I'm looking
Nobody we're talking about. One name that somebody's gonna be like, y'all are sleeping on Bobo.
These are the names on our tight end list. It's Tommy Tremble, Colin Thompson, Ian Thomas, Stephen Sullivan out of LSU, and Giovanni Ricci.
I think the Sullivan names a lot of people have attached because I think Brady was with him and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But outside of this is like, ugh. You better hope Trimble is a fucking bomb-ass motherfucker because you guys are all ready to kick Ian Thomas to the curb.
Yep. It's a new day here in Carolina, man. All that older shit, they ain't working out and got to go.
I mean, like you want to talk about somebody who has had opportunity and just squandered. Ian Thomas is the epitome of that.
You're right. He has not had it. That's for sure. Last year, we didn't have anybody.
Yeah, I mean, listen. Every time he has had enough, I mean, I would venture to guess his drop rate right now is ridiculous. I mean, how many times did he just drop balls that were right in his hands?
Yeah, he's 31 targets, 20 receptions. Not too great. 66% maybe. Somewhere.
I mean, it's
what's exciting because he's just like this tall motherfucker that I almost feel like Dan Arnold should play for the Saints. Like I feel like that's a tight end they would get.
I agree. I'm glad we got him instead.
Right. All right. Okay, so we went through all the roster positions. Let's get to the cat calls. Before we do that, I'd like to remind everybody to smash the thumbs up button, like, subscribe, leave a review, do whatever you can to just tell one person about the podcast. That's the best thing you can do for this show. And in my opinion, Panther Nation is for us to grow a conversation. Like I said, that this show is about us riding in the car to and from the game, chopping up, you know what I'm saying? Getting after each other. And I tell you, Cody has been wrong all show. I would have thrown French fries at him in the back, throwing French fries at him.
And I'm just eating them, catching them, because I'm untouchable. I'm not wrong on this shit. I'm not wrong, man.
All right. And if you want to be a part of the show, you can jump in the chat room. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. We're on Periscope. And you can call into the show at 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. Check the Discord chat out. The notes, the link for it are in the show notes. Let's go ahead and get to the cat calls, which are, can you bring the banner up for me, Cody, real quick?
Yep.
Cat calls brought to you by Avolta. They're powered by Avolta in some ways, you could say. You can own your own energy. If you live in North or South Carolina and you're a home owner, you need to call my man, Kevin Brown. The number is 704-215-3373. He can help you achieve energy independence, add equity to your home, go green, and fix rate for life. That's the kind of cool thing. I was thinking about this. If you cut your cord when it comes to, for instance, what are cord cutters known for? Cutting the cord with cable. I was a Hulu dude, but it don't matter who you are. You're a Hulu dude, you're a YouTube dude. You sign up, it's $44, and 7 months later, it's $59. It's $54.99 all of a sudden. But here, if you call Avolta, it's the same rate for the rest of your the rest of your life. The rest of your life. Whew. Call it back. All right. Let's get into the cat calls. And let me see if I can do this smoothly since.
Hey, real quick, 61 people watching, 39 likes in the chat. What? Please hit the thumbs up if you're enjoying the content, man. This is our the subscriber shame, man. If you like what we're doing, if you like us BSing. Yeah, man, hit the subscribe button. Like us if you like what we're doing. And yeah, man, keep coming back.
Subscriber shame.
You just got shamed. All right. Let's see if this works, hopefully.
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty. You shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Audio good?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like.
Oh, there it goes.
No, now I miss. Now it's with that.
C3 fans, Panther Nation, what is up? It is your boy, Josh from Matt.
What up, Josh?
We'll skip the fancy talk. Let's get right down to it. So I've been thinking about this young defensive guy, right? And within our own division, the trials they're going to be put through as young athletes, and not only young athletes, but some guys who we're expecting or hoping can come round into form this season. And I think the difficulty of our division can help this team elevate. And I'm not just talking about the Bucs. I think the Saints are still going to be a tough team. And I think a lot of us are looking at it as we could probably beat the Falcons twice this year. But that doesn't discredit the fact that their offense has been kind of what that team thrives on. So that's really what I'm getting at here is these offenses that this defense is going to have to go against. Man, oh man, I think they're going to be pretty battle tested by the end of this year. I mean, that's not to say like J.C. Horn already pretty much has. I mean, coming out of college, he covered, most if not all of the great receiving talent, and including Pitt. So I think that's just really going to help these guys. It's kind of whack that we play the Bucs twice at the very end of the season, but we're kind of used to that kind of deal being the jam now. Is end of the year we play the best team in our division, or the best team in our division from last year twice at the end of the season. I mean, if any indication of what we expect Phil Snow to start doing as the season goes on, as guys mature and as guys come into taking up their responsibilities. I really think, and I mean, I know again and again and again, it's been said again and again, but I really think this defense by the end of this season is going to be a really battle-tested, hardened group that they're going to go through their knocks, they're going to go through their tough moments. There's going to be some lovely stuff, but I think by the end of this year, we'll see flashes of a defense that can be nothing short of dominant. And I'm already out of time, Panther Nation. Y'all have a great one. Out.
Love it. Love the boy Josh from Mass. I like what you said too about our battle-tested defense. Like, you know, I've been saying this a long time. I think this defense is really, I mean, obviously outside of some holes at free safety, which I agree with what CK said completely. Like, we're hoping that we're so fast and aggressive and physical that it's just not even a problem. And listen, I think we have we're doing a Panthers podcast here. I think we have a pretty good hand on the finger of what Panther fans are excited about and not excited about. Right. And I think one of the commonalities that you hear from most Panther fans is this defense has the opportunity to really cook and really turn it on and be a violent, aggressive, fast, strong defense, man. We have all the tools available to make it happen. And again, I've said that I think our defense playing aggressive is the best possible thing that can happen to our offense. If we have a ball-hawking defense that's taking the ball away, getting stops on 3rd and 4th down, I mean, that's going to reward our offense being more experimental, being more aggressive, taking some shots down the field when you know that you have a little bit of leeway because your defense is balling out. I'm just pumped. I think they have the potential to be a special unit, and I'm just pumped. And I echo Leonhardt, who says the expectations are very high for this defense.
Yeah, I can kind of agree with. I definitely agree with. By the end of the season, they're going to be battle tested because I've been saying this. The whole show really with the defense. We play against, I think, the best wide receivers and quarterbacks in the last few years, combinations in the entire league. I mean, look at who they got to play against. I mean,
right.
Hate him if you want to, but you've had Matt Ryan with Calvin Ridley and Julio Jones. I know he's not there anymore, but you've had that. You've had Breeze with Michael Thomas. You've got Brady now with his offensive weapons. Like, we've had to play against some tough defense. So that's why it's hard for me to beat up a player after the first year, especially in the defensive backfield. But I do think I agree with him that by the end of the season, we'll be definitely battle tested once we played all those teams, because it's not going to be easy. I mean, I know we don't have a few of those anymore, but it's still going to be very tough.
This defense is reminiscent of the 2013 Carolina Panthers defense, where the secondary was a mishmash of people, right? And the front seven just beasted and got 64 sacks that year. You plugged in K1 Short and Star Lotulelei, which we did not know in their rookie years were going to be so fantastic, right? But them together were this fantastic tandem. And then you added Charles Johnson and Greg Hardy on the other sides. And it gave the secondary so much latitude. Mike Mitchell was like a Pro Bowl safety, and he was actually a good player. Went on to play some decent years with the Pittsburgh Steelers, but he's kind of one of those players too that I think is a lot like a Trey Boston, not in style, but this is that a player, man, if you put them on a really good defense, they can be a really good player. But if you put them on a shitty defense, you see that they're just an okay player. This front 4, 5, or 6 or whatever we're running could be deadly. I think, though, as you get further down the ranks from defensive front to linebacker to corner to safety, more and more questions pop up. But if we get, what are we going to get? 50? If we get 55 sacks this year, who gives a fuck?
Right.
Not who gives a fuck, but I mean, like, That's going to make that secondary. Sam Franklin's life will be a lot easier.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right, let's go to the next call.
Hey guys, this is Steve from Myrtle Beach getting back to you guys. I have 2 big points to make basically. I watched all the Jets games with Sam Darnold starting in them on YouTube the last 2 years, about 12 to 14 minutes apiece. And obviously there were highlights and lowlights, of course. First, that Crowder guy is just an amazing, he's a beast. And what I like the most
former
was
Duke
that
player
Robbie Anderson back in 2019 on the team was looking really good. And that was a pretty decent offense that the Jets had at that point. Now, obviously, a lot of 3 and outs and all the other crap and everything. And a lot of the interceptions I noticed that Sam Darnold's been throwing is just a lot of misjudgment and everything. Now in the Jets in 2020, Robbie was gone and had no running backs either, so it was really very little to play with. And Darnold did a lot more things. He looked worse because he was trying to force things and everything. He had nobody to dump the ball to at all. The running game was atrocious. So I think he's going to look really good with he's got weapons and everything. In fact, when I'm watching him look good and getting out of the pocket and just basically evading tackles and everything, he looks to me like Big Ben from Pittsburgh, a little bit like him as well. And he's got the arm to make throws. He's making throws on the run. And if he had somebody to work with on the offense, I think he would produce much better results. So I'm really forward to looking to next year's season. Have a good day, guys.
Love it. Love that call, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the optimistic side of looking at Sam Darnold as, this guy didn't have a lot of help. This guy has all the physical potential. He has the arm talent. He has the mobility. I even understand the Ben Roethlisberger comparison. I mean, Sam's 6'4". He's able to break off runs. He's a big guy. You don't expect him to be so big, but he is a big guy. And listen, all the physical talent is there. From a physical perspective, he's the exact opposite of Teddy Bridgewater. He just has to put it all together. And the fact that he has Joe Brady now, and he has a quarterback coach, and he has Matt Rule and McCaffrey and all the receiving weapons. Like, if our offensive line can at least be serviceable, dude, I'm telling you. Somebody said Tim Estes, and I've been saying this, and he mentioned it again. To me, there are no more truer words. In my opinion, and in Tim's opinion, this is a boom or bust football season. And it all depends on Sam Darnold. I think we're either going to be a great
Which officially
team.
means we're going 7-10.
Nah, don't put that on me. No, we're going farther. I like this team. I think we're going to do it, man.
What's the best record? How many games do you think?
What's the boom? Yeah, what's the boom?
We talked about this last week. I think so. What? 14-3.
Oh my god.
14-3.
14-3, maybe 13-4 at the high end.
That's Let's go into Vegas. Don't go to Vegas.
I'll give you 12 for $10.
Oh, Greg, you owe me like $78,000.
No.
Like, you need to go through the list of $5 bets we got.
We should go through the list.
And I know one thing is I won the over/under from last year.
Did you?
Oh man,
Totally. 5.
Was 5 the number? Okay.
Boom. All right. I thought your boom was going to be 11, 10. That that's a boom, boom, boom. Bang, bang, bang. 13.
I think if this is
dude,
but like again, like,
did you not hear the roster we went through tonight?
Dude, okay, but I also hear all the talent. No, I definitely think we're looking at 2 different rosters, man. I see all the talent. Like, we're going over positions that we thought were interesting or where the battles might be and stuff. But overall,
we went through every position, bro. We didn't go through just the positions.
Our defensive line is stacked. Our defensive backfield is much improved. We have a ton of receiving talent. We have a great offensive coordinator, who I think is great. I think J.C. Horn could be the defensive player of the year. Yeah, man. Look, if y'all want to call me a Panthers homer, fine. But I think
I was actually not going to call you a Panthers homer. I was just going to call you a kind of sort of a lunatic. Thinking 14-3.
That's all right. Crazy people
Not being a homer,
ends up
just
being
being
geniuses, man.
I thought you were a lunatic.
Like, God, I'm not a homer. I'm a homer, and I still don't even. All right.
You're a homer that thinks Troy Pride Jr. is going to be a starter, and we're still going to go 7-9 or whatever. Yep, checks out.
Somebody help me.
You didn't
Somebody
say he was
help
going to
me
be a
on
starter.
this.
You said solid second, number 2, right?
No, you said, what do you hope he can be?
Yeah,
That's exactly what you said. What do you hope he can be? Not what I think he's going to be, what it could be, or this and that. And you're Mr. Boom over here. And now, why don't you flip the court? Why don't you play politician on us? Why don't you play politician on us and be like, well, if we're not 14-3, well, clearly we'll be 3-14.
3-14.
That's it.
That's it, man. Listen, I
told dude. You can't say this shit.
You can call me a lot of different shit, but one thing that you will definitely call me is consistent, dude. I call my shots.
Or dyslexic. I call you dyslexic
early, man. No, dude. I have said this is a boom or bust football season. It's either going to be really fucking good and super cool, and the Panthers are going to be blazing, or it's going to be another shit show, and we're going to be regretting the fact that we banked everything on Sam Darnold. But again, I think it's either or.
Can we go back to the call quickly, which was about Sam Darnold's performance? And I do think that we're on a lot of, look, the optimism resides in this is that he said it, is that the best weapon he had last year was Jamison Crowder. And Jamison Crowder is like a poor man's Curtis Samuel, right? I mean, if you think about it, he's an older player. He's just a slot receiver who exceeds expectations. He formerly played for Duke, a guy that I thought the Panthers could have drafted at one point, and we were highlighting him at one point, fifth round pick by the Washington football team. Another cool thing that the color highlighted was Robbie Anderson was a different type of player when he was with Darnold, right? So when we brought in Robbie Anderson last year, we're thinking stretch the field, do all this shit, big play. He's going to be 3 for 70 and whatever. But it turned out Robbie Anderson was a critical piece to this team, and he just was a possession receiver. So there's a lot of people talking about the bad tape with Sam Darnold, and that it all exists. It does exist. Like, he forces stuff. He kind of ridiculous at times. I think at times he had to feel like he was playing hero ball, right? For a team that was playing from behind and that put everything on him with very little talent around him. On the other hand, too, is that he didn't have good circumstances in coaching room. I've tried to bring this up over and over and over again about Adam Gase not only being a defective part of the NFL, but Adam Gase was their head coach, their offensive coordinator, and their quarterback coach, and he wasn't good at any of them.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, I almost feel like whatever you saw with Sam Darnold with the Jets is the floor.
Yeah.
That's the floor. I don't think he's going to be, I don't know if he's going to be great, bad, in between, but it can't get much worse. That's for fucking sure.
Well, I'll tell you the one thing looking at Sam Darnold I've seen is he can throw the ball down the field. You're right. There are a lot of bad looking plays out there I've seen him do, but I've also seen some pretty amazing stuff out of him. Some pretty nice throws down the field. I was trying to compare it. I know whenever they did the draft this year, like when they had all these elite quarterbacks like Trevor Lawrence, Trey Lance only coming out, they would always put up this comparison with Brady and Rodgers and the throws they could make. And I was watching Sam Darnold highlights the other day and watching Sam Darnold make the exact same throws. So I know he's capable of doing it. I'm just wondering if he can do it with the talent that he has around him. You know,
I mean, if he can't do it now, he's not going to be able to do it.
I agree. If he can't do it now, I don't think he's got it in him.
Yeah,
I agree with you
And
on
we're
that.
giving him the keys too.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, he
without
got
question.
a DUI earlier and he went to his meetings, and now we're giving him the keys.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
If he drinks and drives right now, we're going to have some problems. The number is 252-228-5098, and it doesn't matter because it's probably the last call of the night.
Panthers podcast, my brothers, how y'all doing? Hey,
Gee,
RCA.
what up?
Keep it short and simple, y'all. Aren't y'all glad Moton got signed? I am so fucking glad that Moton got signed. And let's be honest, if we would have had that other GM we used to have, I'm not gonna mention his name, this shit wouldn't have happened. I'm telling you, this shit
Tell them.
wouldn't have happened. Knowing him, he would have extended Ian Thomas' contract for like $30 million guaranteed or some shit. You know, I'm just glad that the new GM we got, you know what I'm saying, re-signed this daggone dude. So hopefully that right side can be guarded really good this year. The left side, I don't know, man. Hopefully something can happen on the damn left side, can be as dominant as the daggone right side. Keep it.
Thanks, G. Yeah, I think that we're all kind of just heartened that Moton was signed. Imagine, and this goes back to a couple of those points I was making when we were talking about cornerback group and this and that. Imagine talking about that group and not having that name in it. Oh my
Yeah, nightmare fuel. And I think that's why we were all freaking out, you know, as to why haven't we done this? Why isn't this something that's going to happen? Why are we content with letting him play on the franchise tag? Like, all the reasons why we were freaking out about this, they were all spot on, and it was all good logic. And we were right, and the front office thought that was the correct route to go. And thank God, man, because, now that we have him, at least we know that we have a solid starting tackle. And again, AJ Lindsay is kind of agreeing with me too, in the chat, and that it seems as though it's a very real possibility that, you know, if they see Brady Christensen as a right tackle, then they may indeed experiment with Moton to left. So either or, it doesn't matter. If it's left or right, you know that it's going to be a good starter wherever he plays. So, yeah, how could you not love it, man? I'm loving Scott Fitterer. We will not mention Voldemort anymore. No, we make a joke that Cam Newton is the name that we can't say anymore. No, we're not mentioning the old GM anymore, bro. At least I'm not. We're done with him. We're moving on. I'm all on Team Scott Fitterer now. Scott Fitterer is the man. I love what he's doing. I'm happy that he's a part of our team, man.
No. Well, he's come back twice, so he's like Beetlejuice. Just don't say his name 3 times.
Yeah,
He
right.
might reappear if you say his name.
Oh, God.
Quick news around the NFL. Aaron Rodgers supposedly turned down a couple-year contract extension, which would have made him the highest player in football. Richard Sherman was arrested. Cam Akers tore his Achilles. What's on your mind looking around the NFL at this point?
So I keep on seeing all this, stuff about Matthew Stafford and how everyone's so excited for what he's going to do this year. And I guess it was kind of related to the Cam Akers news too, of him tearing his Achilles. But everybody's like already anointing him like an MVP candidate. And
I was very excited about their offensive potential, because I think pairing him with Sean McVay could have been was interesting. I tell you this, as I had a sour taste put in my mouth today when I read an article that says Sean McVay taking a different look at Matt Stafford's arm. It was something like that to the effect. And then I read the entire article, and not one word was mentioned about Matt Stafford. It was just like Cam Akers got hurt.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying? It was like, and then I think the implication was just ultimately like, well, Cam Akers got hurt, so you don't want Matt Stafford to get hurt. But they didn't even say his name in the article one time. One time. How are you going to make the title that and then not even mention his name once?
Yeah.
Clickbait, baby.
Get you get you to look at it.
I was a sucker. Okay, so
You want to talk about this Richard Sherman thing? There's really not much to talk about, in my
no,
opinion.
I don't
but-
really care about it. Like, he got drunk and beat on his in-laws' door. Who hasn't done that before?
Yeah, I'm not.
yeah, who hasn't lived a little?
I don't know it. I don't know if there are any other stories in the entire NFL, so that might be a good thing.
Aaron Rodgers apparently.
Right. Oh, I said that. Yeah, is that he turned down the extension?
Yeah, they offered him
and
apparently a two-year extension. I think. And then
he's 30. I think he's 38 or 39 right now. You know, he's somewhere up in that age. He's probably got 3 years left on his deal. 2 years. You know, it's a good question. You know, I don't really care about the Aaron Rodgers stuff anymore. It's like I almost feel like Green Bay is just screwing this all up. Like, why didn't they just make this dude happy? Anyway,
I don't know, man. I don't know. And then the last thing. Okay, I'll mention this just because I know it'll probably be very unpopular. But I'm not gonna lie. I can't sit here and lie to y'all. And I know I'm gonna take shit for this dude, and I don't care. I'm just gonna say it. I like Tom Brady now. Okay, I don't care who knows.
Tell me
it.
what happened today. I heard something that he trolled. Please tell me what happened.
It was really cool because it's like he trolled Donald Trump and Joe Biden. So okay, he's at the Buccaneers are at the White House doing their White House visit and shit, and Tom Brady is standing at the podium, and he says, first he's like, man, it's almost like what do you say, like 40% of people don't think that we even won the Super Bowl. He says, well, you know something about that, don't you, Joe? And he's like, and then there's that, you know, there was a game in Chicago, and I thought that it was second down, but it was third down. And then everybody started calling me Sleepy Tom. And I'm like, what? I don't deserve that. And it looks at Joe Biden, because, you know, they called Joe Biden Sleepy Joe.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, it's not fair. I don't know why they would do that. But listen, it's not even just this, like what happened today.
Where's the Trump troll? I ain't heard the Trump troll yet.
But it's just the fact. Well, yeah, because he was essentially alluding to like 40% of the population doesn't think Joe Biden won because they think that Donald Trump won. Or some horse shit. So, but no, dude, it's just
Was
the
it
fact
that
that
big of a margin?
It's
something
Wow.
like that. Yeah. But my whole point being is that Tom Brady has this fuck it attitude now that he has left the Patriots. And
Well, it's not him leaving the Patriots. I think now he's established it because he's got all the championship rings. Now he's done it without Belichick. It's not just leaving New England. I think he has settled into his big TBD road.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree at all. I think that is 100% what it is. I think this guy has just honestly accepted I'm the greatest. And I think he's just approaching life that way.
And he's actually kind of all right. He's like not the worst about it. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not the worst about it. And like,
but he's funny too.
Like, what else does he have?
Rodgers. Like he's just like, what the fuck are you gonna do to me?
When he was like roasting,
what the fuck are you gonna do to me?
He was like roasting Aaron Rodgers and how, oh, he's the maybe quarterback of the Green Bay Packers.
And he didn't even get mad. But you know what I'm saying? Rodgers didn't get mad because he kind of walks in the truth with it.
Yeah, but also, how are you gonna get mad? How are you gonna like stay mad at the fucking? Like he's obviously
Like,
just joking around.
He's kind of saying what is true.
You know what I equate it to?
Lying.
I equate it to him almost being like, you know, that you guys may not. I mean, Tony, you might. I guess any of you guys could. Like that old guy who's about to retire, who like knows, like no matter what, I don't need you. You know, you need me more than I need you, type of thing. Like he's like, I'm about to be out of here anyway. I don't give a fuck. Like that's the approach that I feel like he's taking.
What else does he have left to accomplish in life? Like in life, what else does he have left to accomplish?
He's the Wayne Gretzky of football, homie. Is that go look this up, folks. Like when you hear the nickname for Wayne Gretzky is the Great One.
Mhm.
That's his nick, the Great One. Like he's like the Jesus of ice hockey. And what is the craziest stat when you hear about this is that Wayne Gretzky, who is the top leading goal scorer for hockey by like a wide margin, like it's not even close. And on top of that, he is the top scoring points leader by a wide margin, not even close. So in hockey, you get a point, you get 2 points for a goal, 1 point for assist, right? And this mug is like 1,700 points ahead of the closest dude. There is a stat where Wayne Gretzky could have not scored a single goal in his career, and he still would be the top points leader in the history of hockey.
Insane.
Yeah, he's
That's
like,
the most insane fucking stat I've ever heard of. Like, is that if he never scored a goal,
Yeah.
he'd still be the Great One.
So he was either scoring
And
it or assisting on it. Yeah.
Brady's kind of close to that for football. Like he's
No,
kind of
he's
from the Super Bowl aspect
like
of
where he
things,
can
yeah.
make cameos. He made fun of Robert Kraft getting a hand job in a comedian show. You know what I'm saying? Like he came out of this and he was like, he came out of a Chinese parlor
Yep.
and was like, oh, I mean, like, how the fuck in the wake of Robert Kraft at a Chinese, actually, it wasn't even China, it was Asian, but potentially Russian sex slaves in the background and stuff. And Tom Brady comes out and makes a joke about it afterwards, about the owner. How can you get away with that? He's a goat. He's a goat, bro.
he really is, man. And like again, on the football field, I hate him, right? Because he's always beating the team that I pull for. But just as
On Monday night.
yeah, except for that one
Sunday
Monday
night,
night in 2013, man. But I don't know. I just I like the attitude, and it's like easy for people to just want to hate the guy. And I get it, man. He's the fucking,
Yeah, he's getting cooler in his older age.
yeah. He's
All right, let's close the show out. The number's 252-228-5098. You can call in for next week's show. Tell us what you are interested in as training camp unfolds. We tried to do a quick preview, but I would say this is even Panthers media, and maybe, I don't know, like, where's it at? Where are all the training camp previews in the news? I haven't seen any really floating around. So you guys tell us what you're interested in for training camp next week. Smash the thumbs up button, subscribe to the show. Remember, you can be part of the conversation. Discord, chat room, call in the show. And the best thing you can do to help us is to tell a friend about it. Follow us on Twitter at @cat_chronicles. You see the names. We'll get to them all in just a second, but we got to hit the longest running segment of the show, Ice Up Picks. Well, this is where it's our homage to Steve Smith. Ice Up, where we ice up, tell someone to get it together. And everyone is fair game, including Cody Lashley, who is my Ice Up pick.
Oh gosh.
Oh, okay. I already know what this is about. I already know what this is about, dude.
This motherfucker
God.
comes out
Okay.
and says, enough with this Beastie Boys. Sam I Am, what is it? Dr. Seuss rhyme scheme.
You misquoted me. You're already fucking it up.
No, this is exactly what you said. That's exactly what you said. He was like, fuck this Dr. Seuss ABC rhyme scheme and this and that. Just because you were early doesn't make you great. And homie, the Beastie Boys were trendsetters, dude. Like, I mean, they like set the fucking, like, it's like they it's like, that's like saying that like Lewis and Clark, just because they were on the Mississippi early, don't mean the fuck anything.
No, they were not
Dude,
Lewis and
Beastie
Clark.
Boys
They didn't
are-
define the genre. Go
Dude,
ahead.
they
It's your Ice Up
broke
pick.
in- no, they
tell me
Maybe
when
not
I can
defined, but a
define.
big part of.
They created something. They put a crack in the wall, homie. No, you can't go back with this revisionist history or this. We're talking about, Cody, you ain't ever wound up a tape, homie. You ain't ever pulled the tape and put it back in a little cassette player. You ain't ever done that.
Do you know what year I was born?
Guys were doing this shit on the xylophone.
I was little.
They were doing this shit on the xylophone. These guys were visionaries, bro. Straight fucking visionaries. And you come up in here 40 years later and fucking just shit on them out of nowhere. Fuck that. I'm sorry you're 40 years late to the party, homie. The Beastie Boys was the first tape I ever got. This dude gave it to me. I was 6 years old, homie, and my man passed it to me. He was like an 11-year-old. He was like, here, take this home. Dude, License to Ill, first tape I ever got. So no, get the fuck out of here with that.
What's the best bar that the Beastie Boys have ever sang?
I don't give a fuck about the bar.
What's
How
the
about
coldest line?
What if we did this?
No, and that's my entire point right there. They called them an innovator. What did they listen? They were super popular at the time. But if you want to talk about the early years of hip hop,
super popular.
KRS
They were like
all of the big time hip hop guys. Like if you look at their lyricism compared to other guys at the time. Look, if you like them, fine, dude. I'm not trying to change your mind. I'm just trying to say that if you read their lyrics, dude, it's the most simple bullshit rhymes in the world. And dude, whenever I hear that fight for your right to party bullshit, dude, they used to play that on the radio so fucking much, dude. If I hear that song one more time, I'm going to strangle these fucking people. Turn on any alternative station, and they're still playing the Beastie Boys, bro. Especially compared to good lyricists at the time,
dude. That is like, I mean, this is the most bullshit thing I've ever heard. And to you, Cody, I say, ice up. And no sleep till Brooklyn.
Oh god, dude. Oh god. Someone else go first. I need some time to recover and make sure I got the right shit.
Man, like I mean, if you ever, it's like calling your sister. It's like you're like somebody called up and said they fucked your sister.
Hey man, dude, if you like them, fine, but it's not my fault that they have trash ass lyrics.
The first dude that ever played the
everyone else in their time, dude.
On the shit. It's like saying
stand by my shit.
Wasn't the best guitarist.
Get that Dr. Seuss bullshit out my face, bro. I ain't trying to hear it, dude. Damn. It's so fucking bad. I dare anyone to go through the Beastie Boys lyrics of any of their songs, dude. It's literally like a 5th grade rhyme book, dude. It's so bad. I'm sorry.
But if you only look at it from the lyrics and not look at it from what they were making their own beats. Like you didn't have no machines that make no beats. These motherfuckers are over here today, like I'm a beat master, and they on their iPad and shit. These motherfuckers were like recording them banging on a goddamn trash can and making this shit up. Doom, doom, doom. You know what I mean? Like they were literally creating this.
Yeah, they were good.
Give me that bullshit, man. Nobody had ever done it. Nobody had ever done it, dude.
They were a better band than they were rappers. How about that? They're not good rappers. Straight up. They just aren't.
Rap didn't even exist barely in that time.
Wait, nobody gonna say the Beastie Boys invented rap? They
they were barely even. They were dipping their toe in 2 types of genres the whole time. You know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of like saying Faith No More is just a metal band, and that's some bullshit too. Anyway, go on. Someone next. Go take this Beastie Boy slander somewhere else, or I'll roll you out of here.
Oh, Dr. Seuss.
I'll just go real easy, quick. I wanted to keep it football related. I won't go low hanging fruit here, and ice up the linebacker who likes to touch boys from the Falcons. I won't go that route. At first I wanted to ice up Richard Sherman, but at the same time I'm like, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, even if he is going through some shit mentally, I don't even think what he did was that bad. But I think I'm just gonna go with an easy one as well. Cam Akers out for the season this early in the off season. legitimately ice up, son.
Ice up.
Ice up.
That daddy.
Mine's going to be live and in the moment right now. If the Suns are down 85-90 to Milwaukee, and if the Suns don't win this game, I hate to do it, but I got to ice up Chris Paul because, brother, this is your only chance right here, man. You were up 2-0. I'm a huge Chris Paul fan. I really want him to win this, but, dude, come on. Losing 4 in a row. Looks like they might not make it in this game either. Chris Paul, if you don't win this, man, I got to ice you up. I don't want to see the Bucks.
All right, Cody, sliding in last, and if don't you do it? If you do it, I will.
Yo, ice up to everyone who thinks Beastie Boys is worth a damn because they ain't shit, yo. That's what I think. Number 2, I am going to ice up. So again, I don't even know the dude's name. He's a real piece of shit. He's a big time Instagram guy. And I think he streams on Twitch too. But this idiot, apparently he was on Instagram Live. And this guy, again, I'm not even going to bother to look up his name. Again, he has some weird, stupid, long name. But he used to date Millie Bobby Brown. And if you don't know, Millie Bobby Brown is the lead actress on Stranger Things, the little girl character.
Yeah.
Okay, well, apparently they were dating at one point in time, but she was still like 16 or something like that. And he's on Instagram Live talking about all this shit that they would do. And oh yeah, she gave great head and all this dumb kind of stuff. And he was like really, really, really like going in on like all this stuff that he used to do with a minor. And now he's facing all this backlash about it. And the Millie Bobby Brown's people had to come out and like issue a statement about it too and say like
he does not suck good.
Yeah, you did. it was
For the
so,
record.
Yeah, it's so bad. But it's like it's this culture of whatever. I'm gonna just say shit on the internet, and if it's inflammatory or whatever, fuck it. At least my name is out there.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think he could even face charges potentially. I don't know all the details on it. But to idiots bragging about statutory raping a girl on your Instagram Live, ice up, son.
Ice up.
Mm-hmm.
Stay off the grid, folks, if you like that. All right, that's the
Or
C3.
how about better yet? Just don't like that. I don't.
Yeah. Just don't like
let's
that.
just not.
Don't be like
That's
that.
way better.
Please, if you are like that, be sure to put yourself on the grid
How old was
110%.
he though at this time?
He was a grown damn man, like in his young 20s
okay.
and shit.
All right. So, man, because sometimes, I mean, I'm not saying it's made right, but, I mean, sometimes, like, if someone's 19 and someone's 16, I mean, lines can be, that's not complicated. Don't be Codizzle Allen like that, is ultimately the lesson there. Ice up to all those fools, particularly Cody Lashney. And let's go ahead and jump out on this podcast. Cody, my co-host, my man, my right-hand man, the man with no music taste or sense of history. Tell them how they can find your work.
If you want some good rock and rap, listen to Rage Against the Machine. That's a real rock and rap band for you. But hey, folks, I want to blast this out, man. Every Friday night, 7 p.m., we're doing the Friday free-for-all, and that is your chance to come on the show and talk with me and hang out. We're going to have guys from other Panther YouTube channels. We're going to have people from Panthers Twitter, just people in general, man. If you like what we're doing, come in and talk football, especially during the season, because we're going to get fans of other teams in there that are going to be looking to talk a bunch of shit. So we're going to need Panther Kingdom to show up and be loud and show support. That's every Friday at 7, and I'll be posting the link to the StreamYard in the descriptions. You can find me on Twitter at CodyLac, CodyLac, and that's all for your boy.
CK, where can they get after you?
Everywhere.
He's everywhere.
Codizzle Allen on Facebook Gaming is my primary location, but I think, as I've mentioned before, I'm going to be starting to stream some GTA RP, but there was a new game that just dropped. It's beta today, and that's called New World that Amazon released. It actually looks pretty fun, so I might be playing that. If you guys are interested in seeing what that's about, pop by and let me know, and I'll be happy to try it out.
All right, Greg, aka the Bat Daddy, the Stat Daddy. Where can they get after you?
You can find me at the BatDaddy52 on Twitter, and then you can check me out every Friday night live on the Super Civil Servants podcast, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if y'all want to hang out with Cody at 7 and roll right into Super Civil Servants at 9, come check us out. You know, we
Sounds
talk.
like a plan
What are
right
you guys
there.
talking about this week? You know what you're after this week?
Yeah, we're talking about Loki and Bad Batch, and probably the first episode of He-Man, because the first 5 drop on Friday, so I'm not gonna have time to watch all 5. But we're gonna talk about the first one, and then next week.
And
but
what's that? What platform is that one on?
Netflix.
Nice.
So
isn't that who shot it?
Kevin Smith and Mark Bernard are the ones who put that together. Yeah, so it's going to be pretty good. It looks like. I mean, I'm interested to see. It's a direct continuation from the Masters of the Universe story we knew as a kid. So we'll see what happens. But just this week is 99, and episode 100 is next Friday. So you guys are welcome to come join, celebrate. We're going to have games, talk about all kinds of fun stuff. But episode 100 next Friday. But like I said, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Check us out.
Good stuff.
All right, my name is Tony Dunn. You can follow me on Twitter at @cat_chronicles. I'm here every Tuesday night on the longest running Panthers podcast, known as the C3 Panthers podcast. Why don't you guys be a part of it? We'll see you next week. Take us out of here, Cody.
Keep
And
pounding.
let me go ahead.